Zeus's story was that he had had a home. He was about 6 months old and had started to limp. And so his family dropped him off at a high-kill shelter and told him that they didn't want a defective dog. Kay immediately wrote back and said, "We need to get him. He'll never make it out alive otherwise." He couldn't move. There wasn't any reason to lock him in a crate. So we had a playpen set up kind of in the middle of St. Francis, right next to the desk. By the next day, we had him out of the playpen, out of the shelter, and in Dawn's swimming pool. He couldn't do anything, even in the water, even supported. He couldn't move his legs. So Dawn tucked the back end, I took the front end, and we just moved his legs for him. And eventually, day after day after day, he got the idea and got enough muscle that at least in the water he was able to start to swim. We always got him out and toweled him off and tried to see if he'd start crawling. And he did. And at first it wasn't much of a crawl. It was more of an army crawl. And he pushed with his feet and pulled with his front feet, but he eventually got to the point where he could get where he wanted to go.
We continued just working the pool until my pool got too cold. And then we went over to a friend's pool and they actually heated it for us. Beginning of October, we were able to get him to an indoor pool. And we worked that throughout the winter months. So we were able to continue the swimming. And then we were finally able to get him into the wheelchair in February or March.
We went with Eddie's Wheels. It was the most well-known at the time. It was the one that I found everywhere I looked. And so we put a call out on Facebook, and Southern Illinois and St. Francis fans responded as they always have. And it wasn't 3 days, and we had what we needed to order his chair for him. We picked him up and put him in it and strapped the harnesses, and turned around to go get a cotter pin or something that we needed to put in it to finish the last piece. And when we turned back around, he was walking across the living room. We're the ones that are shocked and surprised, and he just took it all in stride. We put him in it, he was upright, and off he went. The first setback was shortly after he'd learned to crawl and actually get up on his knees and crawl versus just scooting. He had a growth spurt, and with a growth spurt comes stretching of all the muscles. And when you stretch a muscle, you weaken it. And so suddenly he was back to scooting. He didn't notice. It didn't bother him one bit, that his first setback. He just kept right on going. I think it affected the humans around him more than it affected him. His second setback, he had started getting around quite a bit better. He had just started being able to walk at least very short distances, but he could get from laying down to sitting, and from sitting to standing on his own and go a few little feet. And then he had another growth spurt. That setback affected us, but it dramatically affected him. It was the only time I've seen him mad, but he never quit. he was mad, he'd bark and whine and cry, and then eventually he'd get up and crawl and do what he had to do to get where he needed to go. There are so many more like him that don't get the chance that he got. In a throwaway society, he is a shining example of what happens when you don't throw something away. You don't have to be perfectly healthy to be the perfect pet. Heck, you don't even have to walk perfectly to make an impact. For all those reasons, I think it's important to get his story out, because it isn't just about him. He's the catalyst to a huge movement, at least for St. Francis it has been.